TVOT.
The topic is T-commerce, and Jeff Bonin will be your moderator. So take it away, Jeff.
Hello, everybody. Thanks for coming today. As she said, we are going to talk about how this team up here is going to help you buy Jennifer Aniston's sweater. So everybody who wants to do that, raise your hand. That'd be awesome. Let's get started here. Going down the line here, my panelists today, Abe McCallum, CEO from Clikthrough, Susan Rits, CEO of Zazum. We've got Patrick Peters, Executive Vice President, General Manager of Programming at FourthWall Media. And then we have Michael Huegel, CEO of icueTV. Malcom Stanley, with the greatest title, I think, GM of Monetization. Who doesn't want a guy like that on his team, right? And then finally, Tony Hilton, President of ICE Innovative Technologies. And so what we're going to talk about today is as the title shows, is a little bit about T-commerce on TV and video-enabled commerce as well, because we've got a blending of those two types of experiences. And so we have some people up here who have done things on the set-top box side and pay TV side of things, as well as internet-enabled commerce applications as well. So we're going to go down the line here and let them introduce themselves and their company. We have a couple of slides and videos and stuff to go through. Very short introduction, and we'll get into some questions. We'll try to keep it free form. So if you have questions while we're talking, throw your hand up, and we can get to those, and we'll get you a microphone, and then we'll do some final questions at the end, so we can all go get a drink. So Abe, I'll let you start off, and I'll start up your video here.
So my name is Abe McCallum. I'm a CEO from Clikthrough. We are an interactive media company based here in San Francisco. We've been around for about 4 years now. And what we've done is, obviously, like many of my colleagues up here, is we've developed an interactive video application to enable consumers to further lean in with content. And so what this is an interactive experience that we developed for one of our customers, Elle Magazine, is part of Hearst Corporation now. And Elle creates branded content for their advertisers, as well as just interactive content to further engage their consumer base beyond this print stuff that they do. So what we've developed is an experience where a consumer can mouse over any object in the video, learn more about that information, and ultimately focus on how do we, A, keep the people on the site longer, and then B, ultimately drive more commerce capabilities. So for this demonstration purposes, obviously I've paused the video, but what you're seeing here is the ability to mouse over, click on a particular product, pull in more information about that. All the standard social media features are there to share it across the social networks. We focus really on the further level of engagement of the content, so much and so that it's not just about the products and how you buy more stuff, but who are the people, where are the places that this was shot, and how do you get people to lean in on that experience and get much, much more information. So we work with a myriad of customers right now across fashion, publishing, and entertainment. So this is just kind of one example of a branded experience that we create. But it also incorporates itself across the Brightcos and the Uyalas of the world, so that you don't have to reinvent your video platform, but that we can just run a plugin right across. And so that's just top level a little bit about our company.
I'm Susan Rits. I'm the CEO of Zazum. We're brand new. We just started about March, and what we have is a two-screen. Nope.
Just keep talking.
There we go. It's a two-screen shoppable experience, so we know what you're watching, and we don't just know what you're watching, but we know that you're watching Jennifer Aniston's sweater, and then we pop up on our mobile device that sweater and allow you to buy it with one click. We haven't launched yet. We're launching in July. We do work with our content creators to coordinate this with their product placement agencies, so this is all part of the whole product placement arena.
I'll do this.
Okay.
Ding. You can skip this one. I'm Patrick Peters from FourthWall Media, and we really do a group of things. So we have developed an eBIF platform that's out in millions of homes with some major operators. On top of that, we build applications that are both bound and unbound. We serve advertising within those. We also then collect data and act against that data. So because we're in that position as the platform provider, we're trying to solve a lot of kind of fundamental problems that the industry is asking. One of those is commerce, right? So we believe that the commerce wheel has been invented, right? This is being done. There's no need to create an e-wallet. And we think, in fact, Fire has probably been created too. Sorry about the build. I didn't even realize. Didn't try to make your job harder. So we don't want to be that commerce provider. We want to work with the right people who can provide the back end, who can clear credit cards, who can do all those things. So whether it's PayPal or American Express or whomever it might be, this is being done. But in our estimation, those partners have to be trusted, right? So that people know who they are. They've got to be scalable. It's got to be really frictionless, which is a cool new term that I learned from you guys. And they've got to be flexible. And that flexibility means they have to be able to work within the ecosystem, right? Because all these things have to be tied together. Whether I'm fulfilling something or I'm a content producer or I'm an operator. And we've also learned over time that part of that flexibility means I have to be able to share money the right way across all those partners. Whether I'm an inventory owner, an advertiser, a merchant, whomever that might be. Is there another bullet, or do I get done? And we see commerce taking a lot of forms, right? So whether it's in a bound application, as an example, a local search product, so I can just buy the merchant's thing. I've got plenty of time. Awesome. Short form and long form, unbound, connected devices, right? Popping this out so I can do it on other places. So we see this happen in a lot of ways. We're very agnostic about how we think it can happen, and we think there are already partners out there who can talk to each other, utilize the platform, make it happen.
Yeah. My name is Michael Huegel. I'm a founder and CEO of icueTV, and basically what we are is we have a back office fulfillment engine that enables that enables set-top op applications to allow them. We give them the ability to be able to fulfill requests, both electronic fulfillment and monetized fulfillment of all the way down to physical products. Our platform basically is a modular platform where we integrate with third-party providers and fulfillment companies such as Amazon, or in some cases it could be an independent third party, and we have a full back office management suite, web-enabled management suite that allows for the management of and the creation of eBIF applications, as well as doing all the monetized fulfillment to third-party fulfillment parties, kind of like yourselves with PayPal and others that we're integrated with. And basically, our piece in the ecosystem is just to, get you Jennifer Aniston sweater after you click. So that's it.
Hi, my name is Malcom Stanley, and I work for SeaChange. SeaChange is a leader in multi-screen video delivery. And so what does that mean? That means that we actually, on our platforms, we store and we play out the video onto your iPad, onto your set-top box, onto your wireless device, whatever it is. Globally, we serve already 45 million customers in just about every continent. We support over 450 handsets, 9 web browsers, hundreds of set-top boxes. We deliver 6 billion streams of video a year. So our role in this is pretty simple. You guys create the metadata, and then you bury it in the video, and it comes through as an app or an eBIF app or a stream of metadata that our browsers or our player applications can recognize and present to customers opportunity to buy. And then when that transaction occurs, we receive that and we route it to guys like this so that they then can fulfill the purchase and make commerce happen, which generates money for all of us. And just so that we all understand that we're not talking about science projects, I actually have a prop because I didn't bring slides. This is Jennifer Aniston's sweater.
Size small.
Size small. So we are working right now with the IQ guys. We're going to announce in a few weeks before NCDA that we're going with a partner, operator, and we are going to be vending DVDs right out of video on demand user interface. And this is a DVD that was purchased on a television set-top box. Went through our system, ended up with their transaction platform at icueTV, and then was fulfilled via, I guess, UPS Ground. And this is the first one that we did. So I'm taking bids on this piece of history. And white color, yes. This is actually a DVD, and if you would like a kid and play DVD, come see me. Yo. I guess, Jeff.
So really up-to-date content is
really
what you're selling, right?
This is with the hair and the whole bit, right? So we could talk in this panel. I'll move on, but we should come back to how do you scale this? Because the thing that is important for us as a provider is that what we're doing right now is first generation, get it off the ground, like we did many, many years ago with digital delivery of local advertisements. And what's going to happen to this very quickly is it's going to move to a second generation advanced commerce type of thing where we're going to have to deal with this not just in one-offs, but for long tail content that is evergreen, where you can embed the metadata in the video and 10 years later transact it. How's that going to work? And we're the people who kind of make that happen.
Hi, I'm Tony Hilton. I'm the president of ICE Innovative Technologies. Our product is essentially, as you've heard from my fellow panelists, we provide an interactive television capability that allows people to buy what they see on TV. However, our approach is cloud-based primarily. What makes us different is that we don't push the ability to make purchases. We actually support the content providers to allow their subscribers or their viewers to access this information and this ability and acquire what it is that they most desire. We also provide the service, since it's cloud-based, we also allow for that to cross over the different mediums from television to mobile to internet, so that the entire spectrum of a person's life, which is their everyday life, which is television, mobile, and internet, has access to the ubiquitous application and service that is offered through our technology.
All right, thank you. So let's stay down with the first couple of questions that I've got down toward the latter end of the panel down here, where we're talking about the set-top box-based interactivity, eBIF and fulfillment, and the interactive applications themselves. What are some of the challenges that you guys have had to overcome to get some of this to happen? Because it's no simple process for fulfillment systems to get accurate data from billing systems from the cable operators, and it's not an easy task to make sure that eBIF applications or applications themselves end up on a set-top box. So what are some of the challenges or lessons learned, I guess, that you guys have had in making some of that happen?
Yeah, sure. It's been, I would say, it's the identification of the individual placing the order or making the request. So how do you match that person to that account, to that set-top box in a dynamic, user-friendly way? I would think that that's been one of the things that, though methodologies have been worked around it to make it happen. You can interface with the MSO's billing systems. You can have registration processes that then when someone clicks, you match that person with their PIN and their MAC address of their set-top box. I mean, there's a myriad of ways. But that's really been the hurdle. Basically creating those accounts, creating that user base, making it easy for them to go ahead and interact, get used to the process, and then go on from there.
So I would say two things. One thing, and I'm looking at the audience, and Walt Michael I see is here from Comcast, and so Walt, one of the things that's very interesting is that we're still in a situation with T-commerce and V-commerce and all these commerce models where we're doing it on a special purpose basis. Right, and we're doing that at least in part because the first big challenge is still economics. So after all these years, you know, I mean, we joke about Jennifer Aniston's sweater. How many people actually read that analyst report when it first came out? Yeah, not many of us. You should go back and look it up. It was a long time ago, before the boom ended, and you know we're still grappling with that problem. The fact that by the time you allocate everybody's margin that they want in the transaction, there's really maybe negative numbers left. And so getting this to the point where we're driving enough throughput, enough volume in this with a high margin item or items that allow you to separate the economics into something where everybody who has to participate actually gets enough back to make it worth their while, that's a big challenge. Now, the second challenge, when you get beyond, you know, high profit, you know, high margin items, and we can all think about special one-off cases like Olympics gear where that could work. But what about the case where it is, in fact, you know, Dora the Explorer tutus? And, you know, Dora's going to be on for the next 10 years. So I have a 7-year-old and a 4-year-old for both girls. So it's all about the Dora Explorer stuff. So, you know, in year 1, we all know who's going to fulfill that. In year 7, who's going to fulfill that? In year 8, in year 10. And you want to embed this stuff once and let it go. And so the reason I'm spiking Walt a little bit is because in advanced advertising, we ran into the same thing. We built and we ran for 15 or 20 years these digital advertising systems that assumed a single provider. And now in advanced advertising, we don't assume that anymore. We don't know when an ad placement goes out into the network who actually owns the fulfillment of that. You know, we don't know who owns that opportunity. What we know is that there was an ad placement. And then we've built over time these systems up where we can, in the network, go and ask, well, who owns this opportunity? You know, where does the ad, you know, who do we ask who we get the ad from? Where do we ask even who's going to place the ad? Similarly, with commerce, we're going to make this a real business, we need to do the same thing. We need like an SCTE 130 specification for fulfillment of commerce opportunities. Because over time, the studios, the content owners, the rights owners of the things that we are selling, they are going to want that flexibility. And so what's important is that we have very valuable resources in this panel. We have people who deal in transactions, people who deal in metadata, we have people who deal in actually scavenging opportunities for this. Everybody has their place, but it's not specified today. We're still building these siloed, one-off types of very proprietary systems to make this work. We got to get beyond that if we're going to make this a business.
I think that's an understatement. So while we're talking about this and thinking about, you know, a standard being established, right? Commerce is happening. I can't tell you the amount of money that eBay is processing and the amount of goods that you know, Walmart and eBay and everyone else is selling. They're not really going to wait. So if you want to somehow create context to sell things and then find a way to sync accounts, which, you know, we have a slightly different approach to that, and that's good. I think, you know, we have an ecosystem that's got to work, but it's got to get done. And if we continue to just talk about this, guess what? You know, it's not going to happen. So, would you like to?
If I may, I think my two colleagues, the statements they made, really, if I could springboard off that, there's an even more granular issue, and that's from the perspective of, say, the producer of the show. What we're talking about is a great deal of different products from disparate brand manufacturers. And unless someone is willing to be an Amazon or a QVC and warehouse these things, the biggest issue is how are you going to be able to connect the viewer to that particular product without becoming the warehouse. And that is a major amount of overhead to take on. Amazon learned it very early on, and it took them several years before they started getting out of the red and into an area of profit. So that is a major issue that has to be overcome generally.
Well, that's to springboard of what you just said, to use your term. You know, that's where flexibility and scale, I think that's what we're all talking about up here, at least in part. Things like like what you just mentioned, icueTV, for example, the way we built our platform was to be able to meet that type of scalability and build in that kind of flexibility. So, for example, we didn't want to house any product. So what did we do? We made our system flexible enough to be able to integrate to the eBays and the Amazons of the world. And also, if you had a local advertiser or merchant who wanted to sell a product locally, you know, Joanne's Cookies or something like that, our system is flexible enough to even work all the way down to be able to send the order to somebody like that by any methodology and be able to fulfill it from that point on. So, you know, there is an ecosystem, and I think there's a part for everybody to play, and slowly but surely we're all getting there. But the overall sentiment that I hear up here anyway is that, yeah, I agree. You know, most of the people up here are entrepreneurs. So when you have an entrepreneurial spirit, you know, your whole idea is, look, let's go out there, let's build this thing, let's get it done. And it's not always let's figure it out first and then, you know, deliver the product. Many times you just have to go out there, build a thing and test it, see if it works, you know, and then when you find the holes, you start filling them in. And I mean, that's the approach at least that we took. You know, none of us, at least in icueTV, we didn't come from the cable systems or, you know, television or anything like that. And maybe it was a disadvantage or an advantage, but, you know, you just have to get out there and do it. Start working it, start building the metrics, say, okay, fine, red doesn't work, try blue. And I think that most of us up here, that's how we, you know, we're able to deliver the products that we have today.
We can do a duet, maybe. Okay. So the question of who's going to be the Amazon, the answer is Amazon, right? I mean, the point of this is to plug into things that are already succeeding at a tremendous level and integrate it, and then find out how the right partner can split the money appropriately. And everybody's going to have to give up a little, right? And say, okay, well, you're bringing this value to us, so you get a half a penny, and you get a half a penny, and you get a half a penny. The idea of anybody trying to, you know, reconstruct this seems not a very good idea.
So speaking of entrepreneurism, Susan, your company is just launching, and what are some, you know, how have you addressed some of these same sorts of comments about, you know, just getting out there, getting it done? Where are you seeing traction for Zazum's technology and product roadmap and those sorts of things? Well,
since we're working with product integration and that whole ecosystem, we're trying to fit ourselves into a model that is already there. So we've already got advertisers who are going to content creators and getting their products in the show. And then what we want to provide them with is this platform that makes it really easy for the viewers to identify those products that were already placed and then purchase them. And we don't warehouse. We're not trying to do fulfillment at all. We're just driving those sales back to the advertisers. And I mean, we're brand new, so at this point it's kind of a one-off with each of our advertisers how we want to send it back. But what we're launching with in July, we've got a bunch of little advertisers who have their own e-commerce sites, and we just sent the information back to the e-commerce sites. And it was very simple.
How do you address that, Abe, with what you're doing?
So pretty much what's worked well for us is our key customers are really publishers and fashion companies. And a lot of them, you know, they create content and then they want to blast it out there, and the experience is very much on the branding side. And if you're a publishing company, you're more focused on how do you keep people on your site and then monetize those users to the best of the ability with, you know, digital dollars. And so where we found the most success is, like everyone else here has said, is we don't want to be the Amazon. We're just connecting the consumer with wherever they can get the best deal to buy it. But the reality is that does everybody buy? No. But we can guarantee that people spend more time with the video content, they learn more, they interact, the brand recall's gone way up, and then ultimately a small percentage buy. And depending on where that video's content is running, whether they're syndicating it just on their sites or they're syndicating it through a traditional media buy, you know, we just want to make sure that our technology is embedded where that content is running.
So for those of us like myself and a few others in the room who have been working with traditional, I guess, interactive television for a long time, do you guys see or have thoughts on whether or not the sort of the second screen or the companion screen experience is really, you know, sort of the death of traditional interactive television? Well, is it early? I mean, it's been going for a long time.
I think I would agree. I think it's an early death, but I think more to the point is what's the first screen? The first screen is really what the person is focusing on that moment. I don't think you'll have someone lift their head from their phone or their tablet immediately because something else happens to be on TV or on their computer. I think they're going to be focused on their tablet until they're done. And generally speaking, I mean, if we do want to talk about the first screen versus the second screen, I think it's already shown. I think it's already been shown that this transition has already occurred, because, I mean, if you look at what's coming out on the iPad, which is your primary second screen, you have networks that are releasing apps of their own that streams their content straight to the user. And the cable company is trying to tie themselves into that by requiring either a subscription-based connection through the app, or they're providing it themselves through their own app. So I think at this point, the second screen, if you're going to use that terminology, the second screen has already taken its place above the first screen, which is the TV. But generally, I don't think there is any first screen.
So I would even go a step further. I mean, so this is a very North American discussion. At SeaChange, we deal globally, and we deal, with a lot of companies around the world that are not wireline video distributors at all. There never was a wireline video distribution. And so if you go to Latin America, if you go to lots of Europe, parts of Southeast Asia, it's always been mobile. And you're now ratcheting video up onto mobile, and that's becoming the primary screen is your mobile device, whatever it is in that market. And so, then you get the question of, well, is that a fundamentally different commerce environment when it is video on a mobile device as opposed to television on a set-top box on a big screen on your living room? And I think that the answer is maybe, maybe not. Because, I mean, you look at the people in this panel, right? We have a whole ecosystem here. Is the metadata different? Is the fulfillment system necessarily that different? There are pieces of it that are going to be very various, and there are pieces of it that really, over time, are going to scale and become global, because, going back to Dora, there's going to be one source of Dora hats, and if that metadata is everywhere, then we have to get that transaction back to that fulfillment house somehow, and that's the challenge, right? It all comes back to Dora.
So how do you guys see things like social media fitting into your plans for T-commerce or video commerce?
At Zazum, we definitely like the social media and the social shopping. It's definitely part of the app. So part of what we're doing is, as you're watching the show and you see some cool handbag or shoes that you love, and you're looking at them on your app, and then you can share them on your Facebook and Twitter. And I really see that as a great way to get everybody, all of your friends talking about it and coming back to that.
Yeah, we have something similar as well. As you're interacting with the products on television, at the subscribers, when they're setting up their preferences, they're able to share anything they want. A product that they looked at but they didn't buy, a product that they bought. They may want to give the opportunity to their friends to say, okay, look, I just bought this DVD, Kid and Play. I felt a little nostalgic, and it just may catch on because it posts automatically up on their wall, and on it goes. So those opportunities are there.
We're actually demonstrating now. We had in a European trade show a couple weeks ago, and we're going to have it in CTA, an app where we add a video into your video on demand user interface, and that will send a Twitter and a Facebook update out to anybody who's subscribed to the operator page. And then what we expect is that people will invite their friends to come and watch that video, either with them in their living room or on the network in real time, because we have a video party technology that we've developed where you can literally watch a video on multiple screens, in different houses at the same time and synchronize that up so that you can chat or do whatever around that, which means that the commerce presentation, when it occurs, happens to all of your friends all at once. And then you can talk about, well, I'm going to buy that, or you're going to buy that. And again, as you say, was the minute you transact, all that goes into the viral loop as well. And what you're trying to do is just create and maintain that viral loop over and over and over again. That will amplify the commerce opportunity tremendously.
Well, first off, our perspective at ICE was that entertainment was already a type of social media anyway. For instance, if you remember when The Sopranos first premiered, everybody was talking about it around the water cooler, as they said. Well, that was your little micro social media event. Everybody was talking about it. And now with the internet, it's blossomed into this global social media. So with that perspective, it was really just a springboard into what is now understood as social media, and what has been labeled social media for the internet. Beyond that, our goal and our approach was to allow individuals to share with their friends the ability to view their wish lists, and it can be granularly filtered so that certain wish lists would appear to some people and some would appear to others, and so forth. So it's all about the user experience, and the user experience is a community. And in sharing information and sharing about what they see, about what they're interested in, and what they want or what they don't want, or what they recommend, it's an integral part of T-commerce, as much as it is an integral part of e-commerce, and it cannot exist. Any commerce cannot exist without a social media element to it.
Does anybody have any questions at this point at all that they'd like to ask? Comments? Insight? Okay.
No questions?
Who wants a drink?
Smart crew.
Nobody wants a drink either? Oh my God. Okay, so a couple more questions then. Oh, go ahead. All right.
So when you take a look at the sort of product assortment that you might be working with, you can have a key item strategy, meaning focus on a few items and sell a lot of them, or a long tail strategy and sell smaller quantities of them. Do you have any, what your guts say is going to work best for the type of applications you're all tackling?
Well, are you talking in terms of a product, selecting the actual product? Well, again, since we were in the beginning stages, we just looked at it and said, well, obviously you're not going to go online or on television and introduce interactivity with a $400 Bowflex. So that's why products like DVDs may not be the most exciting to the people in the room, but you have to start, similar to the internet. I always use the example, if anybody told you, 15 years ago that you would buy a car on the internet, you'd say you're crazy, or pay $5 for a cup of coffee. So it's almost, we're starting with low entry, at least, this is what IQ's done with its partners. We're starting with products that are not that expensive, within the $20, $25 range. Get things going, get the metrics up and running, see if it works, see what doesn't work, and just change things around and adjust them as they need. It goes back to, you just have to get started. That's why, when SeaChange and IQ got together, that's exactly the approach that we took. We said, look, you do this part, we do this part, let's just try it. The economics will work themselves out. We had an idea, we came to an arrangement, and there's a lot of people that are attached to this deal that aren't up in this panel, and everybody's happy and it's moving forward. So, but yeah, it's products all the way up to, almost $25. At least that's what we started with.
Our approach to that, because we're the platform guys in one regard, is there are a lot of people who know a lot more about that than we ever will, right? There are people spending every minute of every day figuring that out. So make sure that the platform's open enough, secure enough, let them do their job. It's back to that, the wheel exists, right? We're not going to try to recreate that. We're going to try to bring all that knowledge to bear and apply it appropriately. And I think, you guys are doing really cool things in creating context for all these goods, right? And I think that's one big part of this chore. Like, how do I know what I can buy and when I can buy it? Is it going to be a klutzy thing? Let me take that back. Is it going to be a first generation thing where you just go look at a catalog of shows and the items that are for sale in those shows and maybe fire a piece of VOD to see them again and then buy them. That's one way to do it. The more elegant way is kind of what you guys are bringing to bear right now, I think. How you do that on TV this moment, I'm not quite sure, but you're going to be able to, and it's very cool.
We're not actually concerned with the cost of the product because our whole goal is not just to push to the purchase. That's certainly part of it, but we also just think engagement with the product is important and it brings value to the advertisers. So we're happy to put a car in the app and you can go look at the car, you can watch a video, we can send you off to the car's website and look at stuff there. So for us, we kind of think the $100 to $150 is probably the right price for products that you'd purchase while you're watching the TV show, but that's not the main goal. The main goal is to get people to engage with the brands.
If just one comment, this was a buzzword about 6 months ago, I believe, at the New York TVOT, which was incremental, and incremental has a dual role. It's not just about introducing the technology incrementally to see where the market bears out, but it's also about establishing a trust with your user. They're not used to using a remote necessarily to buy a product unless they're avid QVC watchers. You were talking about people who are used to an internet method, and they're now becoming accustomed to a mobile method. I think it's like, I think a lot of commerce sites are saying about 50% of their browsing activity is happening through the tablet. So particularly the iPad. So just as a springboard into this, incremental is important, which is why we've taken the approach of starting with just the DVD as well as the soundtrack. These are types of products that people buy through multiple platforms that are made available to them. So they're used to being able to buy this type of product through any kind of platform made available to them. So there's an inherent trust in buying it through a new platform included with it. And I think I'm on the same page with my Zazum colleague. I think it's very important that engagement with the product itself is very key, because not only is it important in order to increase brand impact, but it also creates a lot of data about that user that can be aggregated towards other products as well as towards revenue on its own. So.
How does that translate for you, Abe? I mean, is it the same sort of situation where it's about brand engagement, or is it more about and product awareness, or is it about the purchase?
Definitely. I mean, I think that we all want to get to the goal of, can we all sell more stuff on every single time somebody interacts with your brand? But the reality is, it's, I think, about brand impact. And what we've focused on educating our customers on is, how much time can you spend with your brand? If you have 24 hours a day, and the customers of ours is Huegel Boss, you have that consumer interacting with that video. Normally it's a 3-minute run, and then they're bouncing off and they're going somewhere else. But we're focused on to say, hey, educate them on the products, educate them on the people that were in the video, all the good-looking models, educate them on the place where you shot this, because they will spend more time with your brand, thus the recall becomes much higher. And so we've seen it be successful that the more information that you embed in the content, the higher the engagement rate, because consumers we're all interested in different things. It's not so much, if you look at American Idol, it's focus on Ford and focus on Coke. But the reality is that there's all these, kids trying to become superstars. You want to know more about them. You want to learn about who wrote the song that they're singing, and then what other songs have been sung in American Idol that are also related to that particular artist. And all this stuff says, hey, you're spending more time with the Idol brand, you will be more successful.
American Idol is a perfect segue to politics, right? It's the same thing. So one of the things we're thinking about and talking about with our partners is this really frictionless idea, so that in a perfect world you could run a 30-second campaign spot, give money, and everybody gets really happy about that. Whoever that partner is that delivers that, it has to be so frictionless. And years ago we started a process where I could rely on a trusted partner security system, sync that to a MAC address, and know everything was going to be okay. So I got around that account thing pretty easily and solved the problem on a grand scale, and that's cool. Now, how do I deliver a message and say, you know, it's not L, it's, you know, let's not talk about this election, let's go backwards. It's John McCain. I just want to give him money. How can I do that? How can I do that? How can I make that really easy, really fast, so I can fit into the ecosystem that's already out there? Right, I got 30 seconds to entice you, show you a thing, and let you give something. Can that be done without developing a shopping cart and all these things where I have to hand over, you know, in second 29, I've got to say, sorry, Mr. McCain, you lost your 10 bucks.
Got a question down here.
So all of this brings to mind the issue of the great title monetization, because certain things, brand management adds value to the brand, but doesn't actually create a transaction. So in this entire very friendly panel of the ecosystem, where people are looking to get a piece of the dollar in some cases or create dollars, how do you own that transaction or get your fair share so that you each have a good piece of the business? I mean, that's the challenge, isn't it? Because there's other partners throughout the process.
First of all, you need a back end that can distribute money based on an agreement, right? So first you have business rules.
Can you use the mic? There you go.
I'm sorry. First you have business rules, right, that everybody has to agree to, whether it's us up here or MSOs or inventory owners, et cetera. So you have to have a business agreement that establishes rules. Then you have to have a back end that can distribute the money appropriately. That exists, right? So that doesn't have to be created. You just have to have the right partner that everybody's going to accept. How you establish the business rules is a good trick. And I think the first chore is you're going to drive CPM value through this engagement. That doesn't necessarily mean that I get a half a penny by enabling a transaction, but it's good for some people in the ecosystem, and that's the start, right? That's the traditional money. Great, lift that, the world will start getting to be a better place.
So I think that one of the things that we're talking about that we're not talking about is economic risk and risk-reward scenarios, right? So let's get real, right? If we can eliminate friction in the platform by using an SCTE 130 part 6 interface to get customer profile data and help make the transaction less expensive for everybody because it already exists, the data's already there, we can just pull it and move on and not have to worry about it, and everybody knows how it works, then what we're doing is we're lowering barriers to entry, which are technical, market distorting, artificial, just can't make it work. And the less we have of that, the more it becomes a risk-reward transaction where, who are we to say what people should sell? That really is a function of the content owner and their partners and what they decide to put in that opportunity. And if they think they can sell 1 million of them, I really don't care what it is, right? But that's not going to happen if it's so hard to enable this transaction. If we have to work so hard to get the metadata in, and we have to work so hard to make the transaction bounce back and forth between the endpoint and the fulfillment guys. If we make it so expensive to transact the dollar transaction, then all of that distorts the market and makes this an impossible game. So we all have an incentive here to try and line things up, to eliminate the technical hurdles, make people jump through hoops, get rid of all that, so that what we're really dealing with is this is a commerce environment. And in a commerce environment, people look and they go, I got a bunch of stuff, I'm a motivated seller, and I think I have motivated buyers, and let's do business. Like, let's just have a party.
I think he has a point there, and I go back to our relationship. I mean, that's exactly, we came to the table and we said, look, we're not going to get rich on the first one, okay? Nobody is. So let's just get it together. The bottom line is, the technology works. Everybody, we all know how to make it work, right? So the bottom line is, it's deal time. But let's put that aside. Let's get it out there. Let's get the people, get the subscribership using it. Let's learn from that and tweak the system. And the money will come. Again, you could we can't figure everything out without actually going out and trying it. I mean, the Wright brothers wanted to fly. Well, somebody had to be the first one on the airplane. So this is basically the same approach we took. I mean, it was a serious conversation. Sometimes it got a little bit loud, but you know, we worked through it, and that's really what it's coming down to. Okay, so we know it works. Everybody wants it. Well, that's established. Now it's just you just got to get it going, and we'll get there. We'll eventually get there. The internet started the same way. You know, small transactions. Okay, I trust this person. This company works. All right, I got my product. Blah blah. And little by little, it just started climbing up, climbing up. I think a great advantage that you have, though, you know, in terms of earning the trust of the subscriber, is they do trust their cable companies. They do trust their provider. So if it's coming through my television set, and I've been, you know, even as a layman, I know it's coming from the cable system, I think I'm going to trust it better than if I would trust a news site on the web.
Well, so with that, those final comments, I think it's probably time for us to wrap up. Did you want to?
Only to say it is 6 o'clock and we need to clear the room.
Yep. So
Get out.
So thank you, everybody.
Who wants
please
to
join me in
drink?
thanking the panel tonight.
Cocktail!